Good morning students, welcome back. We continue from where we left off in our last video. You remember we have studied in last video that was physical capital, human capital formation and the resources of human capital. So we are continuing with the current challenges facing Indian economy and we are going with the challenge that is human capital formation. So let's move further. In human capital formation, now we will move further with that is with role and problems. Before starting with role and problem, I want to recap that is human capital formation. You should know first what is human capital formation. See, it is the process of acquiring and increasing the number of persons who have the skill, education and experience for the economical and political development of economy of our country. What actually it means in last video we have studied, but a short revision. This process means we are acquiring or we are increasing the number of people which we are having. We are increasing the skill, experience, efficiency in that persons so that the person can be used as a capital for a country and the political and economically the country will be developed by using the same person, that is persons whose skill has been increased, so they become a capital for the country. So it is called as human capital formation. So we understood what is human capital formation. We have studied the resources also. Now we will see what are the role of human capital in economic growth. Now the economic growth, what is the important role, or if the question may be asked in board, that is importance of human capital in economic growth. Role and importance are same points you have to explain. We'll go further with the first point in the roles or importance of capital, human capital. Number one, increase in production. Now, the human capital helps in increasing the production. How it helps? Whenever the training is provided to a number of persons, okay, that number of persons are useful for the company or to a particular business. Why? Because after training, the production is in a proper way, in a proper sequence, and there is no wastage. When there is less wastage, obviously there is saving. For example, in your house, we can say electricity. If you pay attention on how the electricity should not be wasted, so your electricity bill will be reduced. That means you are saving. Same way in a business, in a country, it helps in an economic growth. That means the production increases and wastage reduces if the human are being trained properly. Now we'll see the second point, that is raises life expectancy. Now if there is a capital, human capital is developed, the life expectancy increases. Again it is connected with the sources which we have seen in our last video. We'll connect it with the good health. I give you an example of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Same way, if there is a good health of a person, so there is a less chances of falling sick, and this increases the life expectancy of a number of persons. The third one we will see, that is improves quality of life. Now, how does the human capital formation increases the life or improves the quality of a life? Now, I'll give you an example. Suppose if I have in transport, I have, for example, cycle. Now my income is increased. I was having cycle, now income is increased. I will think about buying Activa. Again my income has been increased. Then I will think about buying car. So this is how, when the income increases, the quality of life increases. But when does the income increases? When the human capital formation is in a proper way. If I have good skill, I have a good experience, and I keep on doing some innovative things, my income will increase and my quality of life will also increase. Very good example is also of mobile. Earlier there was a small mobile, only incoming and outgoing. Later on the new innovations were done in a mobile phone. Same way, if my income is low, I will have a very small mobile. Now income increases, so I will purchase the Android one. So the life standard of life increases. The next we will see increases participation. Now increases participation means labor participation. If the labor or number of employees are being trained properly, their participation in discussion, in doing some particular work, or taking some innovative way, bringing some new skills, doing the work in a proper way, less wastage, this all things will get a participation from the labor, from the employees, after providing them a proper training. That belongs to human capital. The next last fifth one, that is innovative skill. After providing a proper training to the employees, to the labor, to the people, they have a innovative skills. That means each and every person have a different thinking. So there will be a different ideas of doing a particular thing. It's doing the same thing in a different way. So this can be developed in a person after the training. So government is doing all this thing so that it is important for the government to increase the economic of a particular country. So if number of population in a country is trained, developed, they have a good experience, obviously there will be a difference in their working, and this will lead to an economic growth of a country. Now we will see I hope you understood all these points. If no, watch it again and again. We'll move further with the problems in facing human capital formation. Now government is also facing the problems in developing the human as in capital. Okay, so each and every person is not a capital for a country, but after giving training, that person becomes a human capital. Why? Because there is an importance with him. With the training, there is something different in him, personality, skill, all this are being developed. But what the government is facing problems, we'll see that. Number one is raising population. Now here, when the government starts giving training to a number of person and the population increases, you know what is the situation of India. So whatever, suppose if we are giving training to number of persons and the population keeps on increasing, that means the number of participants are increasing, and the government is not able to provide all this training or all these facilities to each and every person or each and every corner. So this problem is being faced by India because of the increase in number of people, that is increase in population. The second point, that is brain drain. Now what is this brain drain? Government gives uses their resources to provide training, to increase their skill for the development and all these things. But what happens, the people after completing this training, or they are being good engineer, good doctor, or we can take an example of good teacher, but after doing all these things and they go in a foreign country, that means they go for a job in abroad. Why? Because they get good income over there, they get a good standard of living over there. So what happens, government is spending upon them, and after fully trained they go out of the country and they work over there because they get everything better over there. So whatever the resources government has put in them, that all are the waste. That is called as brain drain. That means the resources are all waste. Next we will see insufficient manpower planning. Now when we talk about insufficient manpower planning, it comes with a demand and supply of a labor. For example, in a company, if there is a requirement of an engineer, or we can say requirement of an IT manager, but the person who came for the interview, they are not fully capable for this position. The number of the person who came for the interview, they are not trained or not fully educated. They can do a work like labor. So here the labor supply is more, and the demand for the IT sector, for engineers, for managers, this demand is there. So as compared to demand and supply, it's not a proper planning. So we say insufficient manpower planning is done. The next is insufficient education system. Now even countries working with a good education system, but still the education system which is running on, it's an old education system. We have to work with a dynamic world, and Alchemy School is doing that. We are working with, even due to this crisis, we are connected with the student and providing them all material of the studies. So student, be connected and study hard to score good marks. Okay, so this is what education system. It should be improved by the government. It should be done more powerful, because this is a dynamic world. We have to walk with the world. Next is insufficient resources. Insufficient resources, again it can be connected to a increasing population. Now if number of people are more or population increases, whatever the resources are with the government or whatever the resources they are using, that will be limited, because in front of unlimited people, the resources will be limited. So these are the problems which government is facing to develop the human capital. And if you have any doubt in this, watch again and again. And one more thing, students, other than the problems which I said you now, this is your homework. Find out some more problems faced in human capital formation. There are more problems you have to find out, write in detail. So you also have to develop the skill in yourself and make you a very good human capital for the country. Develop the skill that will be like, develop good personality, okay, develop good experience, learn something and do something differently. That can be done only if you invest in yourself. The government is investing in the population, but you also start investing in yourself and see the result. You will definitely score good marks. And for that you have to study hard and be connected with your school. Watch every video carefully, and I know you will score good marks. All the best.